Hello, YouTube. 4 generations, residents of the state of Meghalaya in the far northeast of India have been whispering about Mande Burung, or the man from the jungle. At night, when darkness descends on the forest like a black shroud, they sit and tell stories about a creature living among the trees, a half-human, half-ape, which from time to time can be seen through the foliage, or more often heard. Before often, but now occasionally, his strange calls echoes through the dense jungles or rice paddies after sunset. It is said that the height of the creature reaches 3 meters and the weight is 300 kilograms. Mande Burung is an Indian Bigfoot or Yeti, who, according to local legends, inhabits the subtropical forests of Meghalaya, as well as the emerald slopes of the Himalayas and the wild highlands of Tibet and Nepal. At the same time, officials in the Indian Forest Department and scientists certainly have always rejected these reports as tribal folklore and consider them a local variety of similar stories told in other parts of the world about encounters with similar creatures, hairy bipedal hominoids. But there was an incident that happened about 17 years ago that made people look at these legends in a somewhat different way. In 2007-2008, the Indian public was stirred by reports that an expedition of Western scientists and journalists was sent to the forests of Meghalaya in search of a Bigfoot. This happened after a local 11-year-old boy named Tengsi Marak reported another encounter with the incomprehensible creature in the jungle. The boy claimed that the creature was sitting on a rock in a crevice of the cave, and although he saw it only for a few seconds, he insisted that the creature was unlike anything he had seen before. His face looked like the face of a monkey, Tengsim recalled, sharing his story with correspondents who arrived at the meeting place. But this creature was much bigger than a human. After the boy's narrative, a group of Yeti hunters from Meghalaya handed over 2 hares, which according to them they found in the nest of Mande Burung. They gave it to the famous British primatologist Ian Redman, senior consultant at the UN project on the survival of great apes. After examining the samples, the scientists said that they did not look like the hair of any other creature living in the jungle. Moreover, Dr. Redman announced that under the microscope, the hair most closely resembled the hair of a human, chimpanzee, gorilla, or the alleged Yeti hair that the scientists had in storage and brought from the expedition of the late Sir Edmund Hillary to Mount Everest in 1953. The hair was sent for DNA tests, and Dr. Edmonds said that the most prosaic explanation is that it is already a known species, but the existence of which in the jungles of Meghalaya has not been previously recorded. According to another account, the hair could belong to a previously unknown species. According to Dr. Redmond, new species are still being discovered in the forests of India. And I should add various species of animals. Just today I read a story about a very unusual blue-colored ant found in the Himalayas. But we'll get to it in another video. Anyway, for example, just a few years prior to this incident, a new species of macaque was discovered in the neighboring state of Arunachal Pradesh. Apart from these explanations, of course, there are more fantastic accounts and the slightest possibility that a creature similar to the famous Yeti may live in the jungles of India has caused a huge stir in the world of cryptozoology, the field research of catalogized, I guess, creatures, which is usually ridiculed. Some of the scientists in this field have stated that the creatures may be the last remnants of a species of giant ape called Gigantopithecus, which is believed to have become extinct 300,000 years ago. There are so many reports of Yeti-like animals in South and Central Asia that I wouldn't be surprised if there are still pockets of these very, very rare and timid creatures. That's the quoted researcher John Downes from the British Fortean Zoology Center, and I found it in the Indian media reports. Enthusiasts who handed over the mysterious hair to scientists said that they found it in the hills of West Garo, a remote area in the west of Meghalaya, inhabited by tribes that were famous bounty hunters before the arrival of the Christian missionaries a century ago. From the East Europeans and Russians, cave explorers who had visited India, they say that it's one of the least explored parts of the Northeast. The area includes the Nokrek Biosphere Reserve and the 200 square kilometers Balpakram National Park. But getting back to the Yeti, for the past 10 years or so, a group of these people have been conducting their own investigations of the burung encounters, interviewing possible witnesses and photographing any evidence, such as scratches on the bark trees or areas of forest where trees were broken in a way other than damage caused by elephants or other famous animals. The group calls itself the Achika Tourism Society, and I believe it's abbreviated as TOA, and insists that they are not hoaxers seeking to extract tourist money with the help of tall tales. 100% believe that there is something in these forests. They can't say for sure it's a Mande burung because they haven't found it yet, but there is evidence that, and they will continue the search. That was according to their leader. Real cases of encounters with Mande burung. Locals tell many stories about meeting this or encountering these strange creatures. For example, in 2003, a local hunter, Nelbison Sangma, reported that he watched Mande burung in a forest valley for 3 days in a row. It is also reported that in 2005, in the village of Rongri, a creature entered a hut where a widow and her young child lived. The creature extinguished the fire and sat down, but it did not harm the woman, who was too scared to run away. Another man told how, as a boy, he saw the severed hairy red arm of an unknown creature in a remote market. They also say that even earlier, in 1999, a local man passing through the forest was captured by this creature, who forcibly began to breastfeed. The victim reported that the creature's milk was sour with an admixture of bitterness. Based on these testimonies, the TOA compiled a generalized report describing Mande burung. It is a large ape-like creature with thick fur covering its entire body. It is reported that the hair color is black or blackish-brown. There is an unpleasant smell coming from the body. The footprint size ranges from 35 to 40 centimeters in length. His height can range from 2.5 to 3 meters. It can weigh about 300 kilograms. It is noted that it is a herbivorous creature that eats bananas, babmuk, tree roots, fruits, berries. Also, reportedly, it eats bark of some trees and also reportedly eats crabs, although that would indicate that it's Omnivorous. Walks on two legs, bipedal. According to the 2002 observation data, it sleeps in a nest built in an open area. It or he is timid and basically harmless, as reported during observations in 2005. In addition, the footprints of the Yeti in the snows of the Himalayas are periodically reported by Indian Army officers serving at remote military bases located in Kashmir, Ladakh, and Himachal Pradesh. And what do the Indian scriptures say about Bigfoot? In fairness, it should be noted that in the Vedic or Puranic mythology of India, there is no direct confirmation of the concept of the Yeti, but the mythical creature known as the abominable snowman is often found in the folklore of neighboring Nepal and Tibet. Here he is described as an ape-like creature, taller than the average person and said to inhabit the Himalayan mountains. In these regions, stories and observations of such creatures have been part of the cultural fabric for centuries. By the way, the word Yeti itself is of Tibetan origin, from the word bear. Tibetan legends talk about three types of Yeti. Nyalmo is the largest and most aggressive of them, covered with black hair and reaches stature of 4.5 meters. The next one is Chuti. His height is about 2.5 meters. He lives at the altitude of 2,400 to 3,000 meters above sea level. And the last one in the rank is the Shimbombo with red-brown fur, and the size is only about 0.91 to 1.52 meters. A monkey, a special kind of humanoid, or a bear. One of the last reports of the creature associated with the legends of Bigfoot came in January 2024 from the Mangan district of Sikkim state. So one of the cameras of the World Wildlife Fund in India and the Sikkim Forest Department photographed a creature that had not been seen in these places before, which turned out to be a very rare subspecies of the Indian blue bear. Of the Tibetan blue bear. The camera captured how the animal approached the apartment building, approached the bucket standing in the courtyard, and looked back at the camera. This is one of the rarest bears in the world, which is very rare to find in the wild. Official science believes that this particular type of bear is the main source of rumors about the Yeti walking in this region. Perhaps this is true. What about stories about sour milk and other face-to-face encounters with burung? Let me tell you a few words about Meghalaya that I picked up from the cave explorers. Meghalaya has some of the longest and most complex cave systems in the world, many underground tunnels and places marked by ancient fossils, and inhabitants of rare species around from west to east. During the monsoon period, fast-flowing rivers become full-flowing and fall into the plains in impressive, powerful cascades. By the way, this is the reason why Meghalaya is also called the land of the waterfalls. I think it's also called the land of humidity, because it's very powerful there. And by the way, in Meghalaya, there is also the cleanest river in India with absolutely clear waters, the Umngot River, or as it is called also the Dauki River. Only a small part of the wet forests of the state of Meghalaya is not in danger of complete destruction. There would be sacred groves. This is the name given to the areas of forest near villages that have been under the protection of a rural clan for thousands of years. Religious rituals are held there. As a result of such protection, the sacred groves have become the last habitat for many species of animals on the verge of extinction. Maybe that strange Indian Bigfoot, burung, also resides there. I do not know, but I'll follow up on the news of Yeti, Снежный человек, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Almas, call it whatever you want. There are strange, hairy, unidentified creatures out there. I've got tons of research from Eurasia. I've done videos on the subject. You can find them in my playlist and in this channel, and I'll bring you more stories. So if you like my research, please support me through the links you will find in the description to this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like my videos. Thank you for your attention to my work.